Dear students, the subject that we are talking about is here programming in C++ and the code of the subject is 3330702. Unit name is Principles of Object-Oriented Programming and the topic that we will take here is POP and OOP. Myself, Svkm, lecturer VPNT Polytechnic, Gandhinagar. The objectives of this topic are: after learning this topic, students are able to understand the difference between POP and OOP, that is procedure-oriented programming and object-oriented programming, basic concepts of OOP and advantages of OOP. Now about the introduction. So C++, it is nothing but it is an updated version of C. Whatever the pitfalls were there in the conventional programming methods, or conventional programming languages like C, COBOL, Fortran, that are being overcome in C++. So it is an updated version of C. Here we are following the concept of object orientation. It means all the programs, they are based on objects as well as class. So what is procedure oriented programming? Procedure oriented programming, this is an approach which is followed by COBOL, Fortran and C. Common business oriented language, that is COBOL, Fortran and C, they are following the concept of POP. Here what actually happens in this approach, the problem it is nothing but it is a sequence like reading, calculating and printing. It means inputting, processing and outputting. Here the number of functions are written to complete the task. It means the functions are written here to complete the task or whatever is the aim. For that we will have to write number of functions. So it consists of a list of instructions. Here the instructions are clubbed and organized to form a function and these functions are written to complete a task. You can see here the block diagram. Main program is divided into number of functions. You can see here main program is divided into 1, 2, 3, function 2 is again divided into 4, 5. So this is how you can see to complete a task the functions are written. How functions are written? The number of instructions they are clubbed into a single function or more than one function to complete the task. So disadvantages of POP are, disadvantages, that is pitfalls of a conventional programming languages like C, Fortran and COBOL. To develop a large program, it is very difficult to identify what data is used by which function. So when these languages like C, Fortran or COBOL, they are following the concept of POP, it becomes very difficult for the programmers or users to identify what data is used by which function. So data hiding feature is missing here. It does not solve real world problems very well. When we are talking about C++, we are able to solve the real world problems. So these are the pitfalls of POP. Characteristics exhibited, it means the characteristics of POP. Emphasize, it means focus is here is more on algorithm. Large programs, they are divided into smaller programs known as functions. Just now you have seen this in the block diagram. Here the data moves very openly around the system from function to function. So data hiding feature is missing here. But the approach that we are using here is from top down. Means main program is divided into number of functions, that is top down approach we are using here. Now we will talk about object-oriented paradigm. It means OOP. As the name is OOP, here everything is based on OOP. So C++ follows the concept of object model. OOP treats data as a critical element. Here, the very important part is data, not procedure. So OOP treats data as a critical element in the program. Whenever we are talking about the development and does not allow it to flow freely around the system. So data cannot move very easily around the system, that is around the program. OOP allows decomposition of a problem into a number of entities called objects. In POP, it is divided into number of functions. But when we are talking about C++, it follows the concept of OOP. So it divides or it decomposes the problem into a number of entities. Entities are nothing but objects. You can see here the block diagram of organization of data and function in OOP. Every entity is your object. Whenever we will talk about entity, it means we are talking about the object. Every individual object, they are having their unique features. It means they are having their unique data. By using that data, functions are performed. The features of OOP are, it emphasizes here the force is or main focus is on data rather than procedure. We are focusing on data irrespective of procedure. Here the programs are divided into objects. In POP, the programs are divided into functions. Functions that operate on the data of an object are tied together in the data structure. Here the data is hidden and cannot be accessed by external functions. So the data is data hiding feature that we are getting in object-oriented programming. So basic concepts of OOP are, just now I said C++ it follows the concept of object-oriented paradigm. So which are the concepts? The concepts are like objects. Mostly we are using objects and classes here. Then data abstraction and encapsulation, it is again one of the very striking feature, important feature. And inheritance is there, polymorphism, dynamic binding, message passing. More than that also there is a list, but we will see the minimum list which is mostly used in our day-to-day programming languages. So what is object? As I said, C++ works on real-time entities, that is objects. So objects are the basic runtime entities in the object-oriented system. They may represent a data or item that the program has to handle. Objects are nothing but it is in the form of data or in the form of item that the program has to handle. It means in program we are using objects in the form of data or in the form of item. Objects can interact without having to know details of each other's data or code. Here data hiding features we are using. You can see here one of the example of objects. Suppose the object is student, then total, average and display. These are the data of that object. Object is here student. So this is representation of object with data. Data is here total, average and display. Classes. When we are talking about class it is a collection of objects of similar type. Similar type, it means like tiger, lion, deer, then elephant, they all belong to the same category of animals. So similarly here, the example is animal, the name of the class is animal and the object name is tiger. Here we have created an object tiger of the class animal. So the class, it is nothing but it is a collection of objects of similar type. So important thing is here that object should be of the similar type. So it is a category. So objects belong to the same category. Encapsulation, as the name is encapsulation, that is wrapping, that is covering. The wrapping is nothing but covering of data and function into a single unit called class is nothing but encapsulation. This is one of the very important feature of the C++ or OOP that we are using in C++. The data is not accessible to the outside world as it is wrapped. The data and functions are wrapped inside a class. So we are not able to access to the outside world. These functions provide an interface between the object data and the program. Now data abstraction. Abstraction, you might be knowing what is abstraction. From it refers to the act of representing the essential features without including the background details. When we are talking about abstraction, it means we are talking about the main important features, essential features. We are not talking about the rest of the things which is not important. Similarly, the definition is here, it is the act of representing the essential features without including the background detail. If the background things are not important, then that is not being used. And this particular concept of abstraction is being used in C++, where we are only focusing on essential features. We are not talking or using the background details. Classes use the concept of abstraction and are defined as a list of attributes and the functions to operate on those attributes. Inheritance. Nothing new about inheritance. You all are knowing inheritance. It is the process by which objects of one class acquire the properties of objects of another class. It provides the idea of reusability. By using inheritance, you can reuse the features, that is functions as well as variables. It is just like the legacy that transfer from one generation to the another generation. You can add your own features also in inheritance. You can see this by using examples. So the example is the main parent class is bird with few attributes, feathers and layers. When it is divided into two subclasses, flying bird and non-flying bird, flying bird is again divided into two categories and non-flying bird is divided into again two categories. But parent feature, they are transferring to the child classes because of the inheritance feature. Polymorphism. Polymorphism, as the name is, it means the ability to take more than one form. For example, means we are taking, this is the one of the very important feature where it gives you the facility to take more than one form. Not only one form, but more than one form. For example, the operation of addition. If the two numbers that we are adding, it will generate a sum, that is integer number. If the two operands are same, like hello and world, then it will generate a hello world. So this is concatenation function and it will generate a third string. When the operands are integer, it will generate an integer number. But both the times we are using the function of addition. You can see here the shape, it is one of the class which uses the function draw. And when we are talking about the three different objects, circle, box and triangle, they are using the same function draw in both the areas. But here for drawing circle, here for drawing box and here for drawing triangle, and it uses the concept of polymorphism. It means more than one form. Dynamic binding. Dynamic binding. Binding means we are linking the procedure call to the code to be executed in response to the call. Whenever there is a requirement, at that time procedure call are made to be executed in response to the call. Whenever there is a call, so procedure calls are being made to execute the response. Dynamic binding means that the code associated with a given procedure call is not known until the time of the call at runtime. It is associated with polymorphism and inheritance. It is one of the very important feature of C++. Or you can say it is the concept of OOP. Message passing. As the name is message passing, it means the message is passing as well as received in between the objects, as in C++ or OOP. When we are talking about OOP in C++, it follows the concept of object and message passing is among the objects. Here, the message is passed among the objects, creating classes that define objects and their behavior. Creating objects from class definition, we are actually establishing communication among objects. So message passing is about passing or establishing communication among the objects and getting information from the objects. Objects communicate with one another by sending and receiving information. Thank you so much. Keep watching my videos for the next C++. I will talk and cover the next topic from the C++. Try to keep watching it. Thank you.